this process, I mean, since you basically did for the rest of the season, the whole season almost, was this kind of like something you took for granted that you're actually going to get the position, or was there a process involved with it?
No, there was, we basically, after the bowl game, we had a chance to sit down and talk a little bit, and then at that time, everything was really predicated on getting our recruiting class done. And, I think there's a lot of trust in our staff. I know there is. And we just, waited until the right time, to get everything worked out.
Was it tough for you to take over an offense, and how different will it be next year when it's solely your offense and you can put in things from start practice?
It was a little different because, the things terminology-wise and then schematically, there's the things that were different. But yet there was things that were the same, because David and I had been together, and I was used to his style, particularly obviously in the run game and protection game. That was basically what we did at Colorado, so that was an easy part. But, probably putting together, the hardest thing was, beginning to weave in to our attack, conceptually the schemes. But we started doing it, and the players really took to it, and we got better as the season went on.
You're talking about when you took over Mike?
Yes.
How much different will the offense look maybe the beginning of this year, upcoming year compared to what it was last year? I mean, how much of a difference is there?
I think, as far as you're talking about scheme, right?
Yeah.
What we like, or what I like to do is, we play to our talent. And we have a unique skill set here, at quarterback. Teddy has proven that, he takes to the passing game very well. He can handle a lot of check game and the run game. So we can do a lot of things with him. And we found that out this past year. His ability to throw the ball, his ability to create plays, we're going to utilize that, obviously. And then the skill players that we have a great group of receivers. I mean, those kids, they're all young, and they all have different skills that play to that position. So we'll be able to use them. And I love our tailbacks. I think each one of our tailbacks has something different he brings to the table. So that gives us more multiplicity and more flexibility. And then, probably our biggest charge will be to continue to develop the offensive line. Our offensive line, we're in our winter meetings right now. They're a group that can run. That last year they were young, and sometimes, we had 3 freshmen out there on the field at the same time. And one thing that we saw of them, even the kids that we were redshirting, that they're very athletic. So that's going to bring a skill set to it. So you'll see difference, but you'll see things that are the same. I think one of the things, we obviously, I think all on our staff really are intrigued by, because we do it very well, is the tempo offense. And, whenever we were in tempo offense, we were really good. And whether it be a 2-minute or us just in our no-huddle gear, didn't do a lot of it because we were so young, and there's only so much that we could handle at that time. So as we move along, there'll be things that I think you'll see us utilizing the talent that we have. That's always been what my trademark has been, to utilize what we have and play to our best suit.
You ever mentioned using that tempo full time?
If we can grow there, I mean, I think this. I believe this about college football. I think you want to try to create more play opportunities, and tempo offense obviously gives you that ability. At the same time, I think one of the things that we do here that I really love about our entire staff, offensively, defensively, special teams, we win as a team. So there's some games that we don't necessarily want to be in a no-huddle attack all the time. That's why it's important to have the no-huddle, the huddle approach too. Because you play a team like, for example, West Virginia, we chose our times and picked our places to no-huddle, but playing in a huddle, controlling the ball, chewing up chain, chewing up clock, really helped us win that football game. So that's important to have both gears. And a lot of people don't do that today. They're either one or the other. But it's something I think we've really started last year doing with our players, is starting to take in that direction, so there's familiarity with it. And we'll continue down that path. And how much we do will depend on our opponent, and then obviously probably more than anything else, how much we can handle, because we'll still yet be young at some positions.
Can Teddy be the guy that leads the offense? He's got a young group, so he's not that much younger than most of the other guys out there.
No, he's not, but he is. Teddy's got a unique leadership ability. He gets the game of football very easy. He does make mistakes, but I'll tell you what, when he makes a mistake, you correct him one time, and honestly, you don't see it again. It's not on film again. He just doesn't make mistakes, and he's one of the best players I've ever had the privilege to coach, and I've had some really good ones I've been blessed to be around, but this guy really gets it easy. And he's still not an undone, he's not an unfinished product. He has a lot of things to improve on, but he gets it. I mean, he works, he's a relentless worker, so can he do it? Yeah, he can do. I think he can be a great player if he just continues to push himself.
What's the one area you want to see him make the biggest jump in?
The one area that he really needs to is just grasping the entire offense. As I've gone through the pass cut-ups, I'm almost through all of them now. I usually go through and evaluate it myself before I sit down with the whole staff and evaluate it. There's things that he missed, some things that the offense gives him, a free throw to take. I think sometimes, he either second-guessed himself, which is part of being young. You have to grow through those things. And it looks like to me, and just the inconsistency was just that. So I just would say that the total management of the run or the pass game. He did a great job with our run game, and he got us in so many good plays this year. And then he did that very well. So he just has to continue to develop in the passing game.
You
What
talked
did he
about
show you as far as toughness?
Toughness
In the bowl game, as much as he got.
Well, in the bowl game, he showed a lot of toughness. And I tell you what, all year long, before, that was a really good defense to begin with that we played. They had a lot of fine football players. And they got after Teddy, and Teddy hung in there. So Teddy showed that he has toughness and he's a great competitor. I think the competitive part of it came out in that game. The other thing that he shows is a season, he really got us out of bad plays, a lot by his athleticism and his ability to extend plays, either by staying in the pocket or getting outside the pocket, and then, hitting throws down the field in the passing game. So he has both aspects. He's got a toughness, yet he also has an elusiveness that he can extend plays.
You talk about toughness, but did he earn some respect from maybe the coaches and the players that maybe, I'm not saying he didn't have it before, because he was able to take a beating and just keep coming?
No, he did. I think everybody, just saw how tough he was. I've had peers in our business, tell me, when you're calling a game and you're involved in the schematic part of it, you don't know how much he's getting knocked around. He got knocked around, but he kept getting up. And, I had peers tell me how well they thought he played, how much courage he showed. And the great quarterbacks have to do that. He did that. I think he gained respect not only from, all of us, players, coaches, but also across the country.
How would you kind of sum up your basic philosophy, Shawn, of offense?
My whole background has been, I totally 100% believe in West Coast passing attack. That's my whole background. And, I think it's the best passing attack in football because it gives the quarterback so many options.
Yeah, how would you?
Be it in the passing game and then the run game, I think, David and I both, we believe in the zone play, the wide zone play, the tight zone play, and, the power play in the run game. And then, we like the diversity that, that you can create out of that because we're going to be a gun team. We're going to be in the gun because all quarterbacks like to throw from it. There's several things you can do by changing, a word that changes the play for one guy. And then, it just adds another element of multiplicity. So we want to be multiple, be a multiple team, but yet very conceptually streamlined. There's not a lot, but to defense it's going to look like a lot. Spring ball is totally different than what it was a year ago because of that. We have, number one, we have numbers. I mean, we've got a lot of kids out there on the field. The beautiful part is a lot of those kids that played are younger players. The freshmen we talked about. When it all ended, at times we looked out, we had 8 kids, freshmen, either true freshmen or redshirt freshmen on the field offensively, and defensively there was 6. So we played a lot of young guys. And what happens when that happens, there's an enthusiasm that's in our building that everybody's hungry, to chase something special because they got to taste it last year. We got to taste it. We got a lot of work to do. We'd all tell you that. But the beautiful thing is that, you know, you got to experience it, and there's a real hunger there to chase it now, to achieve it. You know, the whole attitude is different in our ability. Charlie's done a great job of forming that and shaping that with our kids, you know, holding them accountable to things like going to class and doing the right things off the field. Our grade point average shows it, you know, our graduation shows it. So good things are happening inside the program that they all feed off each other, honestly. It all feeds off one another. So spring ball will be exciting, you know, like right now, they eliminate the distraction by taking care of their business in the classroom, taking care of the business off the field. So if they come to the building, they're focused on what Coach Moore's doing and focused on what we're doing in football. So it's been good.
Which coach would you, or which person or mentor who's had maybe the most influence on you as a coach?
Oh, there's several. I can't, you know, when I worked at Miami of Ohio, well, first of all, I'd say this, you know, Mike White at Illinois, who I was with there, he taught me a lot about administration, a lot about football, a lot about being a great position coach. You know, that when he hired me at 26, I was young. I didn't deserve the job. He could have chosen a lot of guys.
What were you?
I was coaching the tight ends. Yeah, I was coaching the tight ends. And actually, he made me coach the tight ends and the tackles. Mike had a plan for my career. He wanted me to start off with the tight ends and tackles, and I was not very romanced by it because I wanted to throw the ball. And he did that because then I'd have to learn the passing game as well as protection and the run game. The following year, he moved me to tight ends and receivers. And eventually his plan was for me to move to quarterbacks, you know, and then later to a coordinator's job. And, you know, that's how he sat me down one time and says, you know, how you should develop your career, and I'm going to take you along that path. And he did. So Mike was big. When I went to Miami of Ohio, probably the hugest influence was Weeb Eubanks. He was my next door neighbor. He actually lived 3 houses down the street from my wife and I. And Randy Walker was head coach at the time, and Randy asked me to invite Coach Eubanks to speak at our clinic, our first year in the spring. I had no idea he was even my neighbor. He had retired there. You know, obviously we had just kind of moved there, and he actually lived a field and 3 houses down. So when I asked him to speak at that clinic, then out of that grew a relationship, and he actually helped me coach quarterbacks. Was in my room as I coached, you know, in the meeting room. You know, helped me on the field. He'd watch, and he was just a mentor. So that was awesome. I was around him 3 years pretty extensively. In the latter 2 years, you know, his health began to deteriorate a little bit, and he couldn't come out as much as he used to. So, but he was huge. I mean, he taught me so many things about being a teacher in the classroom and, you know, scheme of the game. And then I had a great experience with Gary Barnett. You know, Gary was awesome. You know, how to, you know, put a team together. And he's a really excellent offensive coach too. Probably learned a lot from him in the run game. And then you know, I had a great experience with Bill Callahan. You know, Bill and I shared an office together at Illinois, and then I worked with him there at Nebraska. And, you know, that was a great experience.
Is there anybody who you see that maybe, like you mentioned, the tailbacks? I know Sonoris Perry didn't get a lot of reps in Corbin. Is there anybody who you see kind of emerging as maybe a third guy you can really depend on?
You know, when we look at the tailback position, you know, Dominic, that move I think is going to turn out to be a great move. It already has proven that it was a good move. He just needs to get a better feel for that position and learn the reads as a tailback. It's different, you know. He's obviously a high school quarterback and a great one as a runner, but he didn't take the ball from the home position, which there's a learning curve. He got better as the season went on, and his skill set and his, you know, he just got to, as he develops his instincts, I think he'll be really a special player. Jeremy Wright is a guy that, you know, we've got to get to come along. You know, Jeremy shows flashes as he did his first year of being a very talented back, and then Sonaris would be the third one. I mean, we've got 3 guys right there. Sonaris has got great speed, and he's really coming into his own at the position. And, you know, I tell you, a guy I think will show up in the spring and show up next year will be Corbin Lamb. He showed on the scout field, you know, a real nice skill set and has instincts to go along with it. So, you know, we feel good about our tailback position because, you know, those 4 kids in particular have really flashed.